In the name of Allah Almighty, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum everyone. It is lecture number 10 and today we have to cover two poems which are La Belle Dame Sans Mercy and A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. Both these poems are by John Keats. So without wasting time, let's get to the topic. Okay, here we have the lecture outline. First, I'll introduce that what this poem is, La Belle Dame Sans Mercy, and then there is summary of this poem. I'll explain the text. Then there are themes, and similarly, same is the case with the poem that is A Thing of Beauty, and its summary. Then there is text which I will explain in this lecture, and then there are themes, and at the end there is conclusion. There is no introduction of John Keats here in this lecture because I have introduced him well in my previous lecture. So we are going directly to the study of this poem, La Belle Dame Sans Mercy. So it's a French phrase which means a woman. Dame means women, and beautiful. Belle means beautiful women. Sans without mercy. So, La Belle Dame Sans Mercy is a ballad by John Keats, ballad which is sung in the form of song, one of the most studied and highly regarded English romantic poets. And in the poem, a medieval knight recounts a fanciful romp in the countryside with a fair woman. Romp means to play roughly or energetically on the road, and there is a medieval knight. Knight is a kind of soldier, and the soldier was going on the road and he was moving in the countryside like village with a fairy woman, La Belle Dame Sans Mercy, and he named that woman La Belle Dame Sans Mercy, which means the beautiful lady without mercy. And this phrase is of French language and that ends in cold horror. Related to this focus on death and horror, Keats wrote the poem months after his brother Tom died of tuberculosis. So it means that he had a personal impact on this of this poem, or this poem had a personal impact on the poet. Okay, summary. What's the matter? Knight is shining armor, standing alone, looking rather ill. So he presents a picture. Keats presents a picture that there is a soldier who is full, who is wearing that armor, that shield. He is having his armors with him, and he looked ill. He's upset. From his face it seems that something is disturbing him. The plant life by the lakeside has shriveled up and the sound of bird song is absent. As the plant life means the lakeside, it has shriveled up. Shrivel up means shrunken, like fade away, and the sound of bird song is absent. Again, tell me what's the matter. So the poet asks that knight, that soldier, that what's the matter, why he looks absent. He said, you look extremely distressed and sad. The squirrels have gathered their provisions for winter, and we humans have harvested our fields. So the things have been done, like the squirrels had also gathered their food for the winters, while we the humans have harvested our fields. So it's naturally you should seem happy, but why you are upset? Your forehead is pale like a lily and moist with the sweat of a painful fever. So it seems that your forehead is pale like a moist lily and sweat of because of the sweat of fever, and you look pale. The color in your cheeks, once bright and lively as a rose, is fading extremely quickly. So the color of your cheek is also fading. What's the matter? The knight said, I, the knight, met a woman in the meadows. She was so enchantingly beautiful, I assumed she was the child of fairies. So that woman was so beautiful that knight thought that she is a child of fairy. She had long hair. She moved so gracefully. She seemed to hover over the earth, and she had a mysterious wildness in her eyes. Actually, what happened? That knight had uh, looked into the eyes of that woman who looked like a fairy, and he was so impressed with his beauty, and he was so mesmerized by her grace that he could not let go her thought in his mind. As a result, he became sad because when that woman disappeared, so he became the sad. That was the reason he looked sad. From flowers, stems, and leaves, I wove a crown for her to wear. I also wove her bracelets and belts strong with the scent of the flowers I used to make him. Okay, he said that I wove a crown for her to wear. And I also wore her bracelets, that bracelet she was wearing, and belt strong with the scent of the flowers I used to make it. Having received my gift, she looked at me. It was the look of someone falling in love, and she moaned sweetly. So it was like she she looked at the poet, and it like that she also fell in love with the poet, and she moaned sweetly. I sat her behind me on my trotting horse. Trotting means a horse that have a two-wheeled vehicle behind it. So he had her sit behind her on the trotting horse. Yet that whole day I saw nothing but her as we trotted along. She would lean forward and around me singing a mysterious fairy song. So she would lean forward to him, and as a result, she would also sing a song. Because of that, he was so mesmerized by her beauty that he could not let go her thought. When we stopped, she dug up sweet, nutritious roots for me that she pulled out few roots from the ground, and she served these roots to the poet. She served to the night, sorry. She served me wild honey and a substance so heavenly in taste, it reminding me of manna, the food that kept the Israelites alive on their journey out of Egypt. So, it is an illusion. The illusion is that you take reference from the past. So it is like Israelites when they were was just uh, uh, left or they were just removed or expelled from the Egypt. So they had to eat that food that is called as manna. So the soldier also had this manna given by that lady. In a strange language that I nevertheless understood, she said, I truly love you. So it was a strange language that anyhow that soldier managed to understand it, and he said, and he understood that she loved him. Next, she took me to her enchanted cave, where, overwhelmed with emotion, she wept and sighed. Something pained her. I shut those wild eyes of hers by kissing her 4 times in an attempt to soothe her. So she said, he said that poet Knight said that my lady took me to a cave where she told me about her problems, like whether she was having any kind of emotional stress. She told me about it, and I just shut her eyes, kissed her 4 times so that she may feel relaxed. Next, she lulled me to sleep, and I fell into a deep dream. It still fills me with sadness and despair to remember it. So, next, I was just asleep, and then I wake up. There was no woman, and it fills me with sadness. It fills the soldier with sadness that the woman was not there. That was the last dream I ever had in that cave, which was located on a cold hillside. So it was a kind of dream that the soldier had seen the whole episode, that he met a woman, and the woman take her to the cave. Everything was a dream. All right. In it, I saw pale kings, princes, and warriors gathered around me. I saw the color of death in all of their faces. They told me that La Belle Dame Sans Mercy, the beautiful lady without mercy, had taken me as her prisoners. So he said that I found kings and princes and warriors around me, and what they said that this beautiful woman had taken you as prisoner in. She had prisoned you in her jail of love. I saw their life-starved lips in the dying light. So they were starved of love, starved of life. Those because this woman had also deceived them. These lips widened as they warned me about the trouble I had gotten myself into. So they said that now you had fallen in love with the woman. So you had found, or you had trapped yourself into a trouble. Then I woke up and found myself here on this cold hillside. So that's the answer to your question. That's why I linger here alone, looking rather unhealthy, even though, as you say, the plant life by the lakeside has shriveled up and the sound of bird song is absent. So he said that this is the reason why I look sad, why I am upset, and why I linger while I stand here alone, and I rather look unhealthy because of the reason that what happened to me the last night. Okay, so it is the text. Okay, I'll quickly go through the text. Oh, what can ail thee? Ail means, make you sad. Knight at arms, knight with his armors, alone and palely loitering. Loitering means moving roughly along the road. Okay, palely means of having yellow color of the skin. The sedge has withered from the lake. Sedge is a kind of flower that, sorry, it's a kind of weed It has withered from the lake, and no bird sing. Oh, what can ail thee, night at arms, so haggard and so woebegone? Haggard means in stress, in tension. The squirrel's granary is full, and the harvest has been done. I see a lily on thy brow, with anguish moist and fevered dew, and on thy cheeks a fading rose fast withered too. So your cheek is looking like a rose that has been withered away, and there is a harvest is done. I see a lily on thy brow. Lily means, a flower on your forehead. It seems that it has been moist due to your fever. I met a lady in the meads, in the meadows. He mean that meadows, full beautiful of fairies. It was like a fairy's child. Her hair was long, her foot was light, and her eyes were wild. I made a garland for her head. Garland means necklace, and bracelets too, and fragrant zone. She looked at me as she did love. She looked at me as if she loved me, and made sweet moan. I set her on my pacing seat. Pacing seat means horse. On the back of horse, like there's a vehicle behind the horse, and on which, and he like made her sit on that vehicle. And nothing else saw all day long. For sidelong would she bend and sing a fairy's song, as she would like bend along with me, and she would sing a fairy song. She found me roots of relish sweet, so she get me the roots, the herbs that they could have eaten, and honey wild and manna dew and sure in language strange. She said, I love thee true. Thee means you. She took me to her elfin grot. Grot means cave. And there she wept and sighed full sore, and there I shut her wild, wild eyes with kisses for. And then she lulled me asleep, she made me sleep, and there I dreamt, ah, woe betide. The latest dream I ever dreamt on the cold hillside. I saw pale kings and princes too, pale warriors, death pale were there all. They cried, La belle dame sans mercy, thee hath in thrall, in trouble, you had been imprisoned by this woman who is without mercy. I saw their starved lips in the gloom. Their lips they were just starved of the love, and they were full of gloom. With horrid warning gaped wide, and I woke and found me here on the cold hillside. And this is why I sojourn here. Sojourn means journey. So this is why I am moving here, alone and palely loitering, though the sedge is withered from the lake and no birds sing. So that was the poem, and here we have the theme. There's theme of love, there's theme of obsession, and there's theme of death. Theme of love is that because the soldier fell in love with that woman. Theme of obsession, that he was so obsessed with her love, with her beauty, that he could not let go her thought, and even after her departure he was so much absorbed in her thought. That is the obsession. And theme of death. Theme of death in a sense that his emotional that we can talk about the emotional death of the soldier, because he did not have he did not find any reason to be happy, and as a result, when you are not happy you feel sad, and continuously feeling sad makes you sick, and as a result you die. So you can read this slide yourself. Okay, imagination versus reality, because the whole poem is imagination. There are two kinds of imagination in here. Imagination of the poet, because poet has written this poem out of his imagination. The Keats has written this poem. On the other hand, the soldier who met a woman in his dream, and whatever time, the way he spent time with her was all a result of the imagination of that was the part of the dream. So there are two imaginations here in this poem. So what is reality is what is real is that when soldier was strolling, or walking along the countryside, and because he had something in his mind, so he was distressed, he was unhappy, he was stressed. That was the reality. Okay, next poem that we have is A Thing of Beauty. Yes, A Thing of Beauty. It is by a British romantic poet John Keats. Published his first epic poem. And epic is a long narrative poem which is written on grand thought, and it has a specific format. And Endymion in 1818, it is a narrative about the relationship between a goddess and her human lover. The poem is based on the Greek myth of Endymion, the shepherd who falls in love with the moon goddess Selene, whom the poet renamed Cynthia. So, epic is basically a poem which is written on the grand thought, and its subjects are also grand. Like this poem is written about the gods and goddesses. So, this poem is also about the goddess, that is moon goddess Selene, and whom the poet renames as Cynthia. This extract, A Thing of Beauty, talks of how beautiful things give us pleasure and alleviate suffering and sorrow. The epic poem Endymion begins famously with the line, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." Its summary, this poem presents the reader with the views of Keats on beauty and its value and its importance to humans. Since Keats is a poet of beauty, so he actually adores beauty, he worships beauty, and this concept of beauty is presented in this poem. Beauty is whatever form it may be found, is an internal joy to humans because it offers humans the constant opportunity to reflect on that beauty. So, beauty in whatever form it is an internal joy to humans, and eternal joy to humans in a sense that people become extremely beautiful at the sight, extremely happy at the sight of something that is beautiful, and it offers humans to reflect on that beauty which stands in such stark contrast to that dejection. So, beauty, a sight of beauty refreshes you, makes you happy, and on the other hand, it is in opposition to the dejection, monotony, and ugliness of our daily everyday lives. Monotony means repetition, and ugliness, having bad image. In spite of all the difficulties and the suffering that humans face, beauty has the ability to produce happiness and temporarily shift the burdens that humans bear. Keats therefore establishes that in his view of the world, life for humans consists of unremitting. Unremitting means unending struggles and difficulties, and it is only beauty in its various guises. Guises means form, that is able to shift those trials and at least temporarily produce happiness. So, according to Keats, life is full of troubles and people face suffering here, but it is the beauty which brings happiness to the lives of people. The poem concludes with a list of things that constitute beauty for Keats, which include both physical objects, which are examples of natural beauty, such as daffodils, and also beauty that can be found in art, such as the lovely tales we have heard or read, a tale also in the Grecian urn. So, Keats had two concepts of the beauty. One concept that relates to the physical objects, as he talked about in the daffodils, in on the Ode to a Nightingale, and then there is exploration of beauty in art in poem like Ode on a Grecian Urn. All of these forms of beauty act as an endless fountain of immortal drink, allowing humans to forget bleak reality and experience joy. So all these forms of beauty, they are kind of fountain of immortal drink, that the drink that will never end. So it becomes the fountain of the drink that will never end, allowing humans to forget bleak reality and experience joy. So it allows humans to forget their harsh reality and experience and enjoy the happiness. This poem therefore focuses on the theme of happiness and how it can be experienced. It inspires us and gives us the courage to fight against all odds. Here we have the text. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but still will keep. So, what is beautiful? A thing that is beautiful is definitely a source of joy forever till the life exists. Alright. So, its loveliness, its beautifulness increases, and it will never pass into nothingness. So it will never lead to nothingness, but still will keep a bower quiet for us and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. So it will be, it will bring us sweet dreams, and it will bring us good health, and you feel happy, you feel fresh at the sight of the beauty. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth. So every other day, every morrow means every other day are we wreathing. Wreathing means suffering, a flowery band to bind us to the earth. So this flowery band gets us back to the nature where we feel happy. Spite of despondence, of the inhuman dearth, of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over darkened days, Yes, spite means in spite of despondence. Despondence means lack of spirit and of the inhuman dearth. And dearth means the scarcity of something, like with unfulfilled desires, of noble natures, of the gloomy days, sad days, of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways made for our searching. Yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall. Pall means sadness. So what happened? No matter you lack something in your life, you have unfulfilled desire, you are feeling low at energy, and you have a bad days, and of the unhealthy and over darkened days, like you have a bad, like darkened ways in which you find no way, and in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall. So sight of beauty, this moves away this tension, the sadness from our dark spirit, such the sun, the moon, trees old and young sprouting a shady boon. For simple sheep and such are daffodils, like from our dark spirits, which the natural thing, the sun, the moon, trees old and young sprouting the shady boon, like shady plant. For simple sheep, like even the sight of the sheep gives you happiness because it is natural, it is a product of nature and also beautiful in one way or the other. And the sight of daffodils also keeps you happy. With the green world they live in and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make. Gainst the hot season the mid forest break, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms, like the green world in which people live, the clear rills. Clear rills means clear rose, the rose of the vegetables, rose of the flowers. The cooling covered, it gives them the cooling effect, like against the hot season, against that hot season the mid forest break. And in the like if you stay there in the mid forest, rich with a sprinkling of fair uh, musk rose blooms, so there is the blooming of the rose, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms. Okay, dooms mean cause to have an unfortunate and inescapable outcome. We have imagined for the mighty dead all lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens brink. So it is like there is a fountain of immortal drink, the drink that will never end. And this drink is pouring onto us from the heavens brink, like from the heavens uh, uh, rim. All right. So it, although this poem has six parts, six books, so I have narrated, I have explained just the one of it. Okay, the very opening line of the poem, a thing of beauty, openly recites the very theme of the poem. Any beautiful object is always treasured in our mind because it provides us eternal and everlasting joy. The happiness that anything beautiful provides never fades into nothingness but multiplies manifold whenever it returns to our mind. So there is theme of beauty here, and in the opening line, we find that is a thing of beauty. So it means that whatever is beauty, it is everlasting, it is eternal, it will remain forever. And whatever happiness we get from this beautiful thing, it will all never end into the nothingness, but it will multiply manyfold, and it will come again to our mind with a fresh thought. Yes, John Keats' poem La Belle Dame sans Mercy is a representative of the Romantic poet's recuperation of the melancholic structure of early modern romance as a means to passionately engage with the internal world of the imagination. Recuperation means recovery from ill health, like melancholic structure of the early modern romance. So early modern romances, they had very sad structure. So this poem, yeah, it gives some optimistic hope. It gives some positive ideas. So that is why it is said that it is the romantic poet's recuperation. It is a romantic poet shift from the melancholic structure of the early modern romance as a means to passionately engage with the internal world of imagination. So in order to connect with the world of imagination, the romantic poet like Keats has adopted this positive way of presenting the poem. The poet says that a beautiful thing is a source of endless joy. It has eternal beauty which never fades away. A beautiful thing is like a shady shelter which gives us a sleep full of sweet dreams, good health, and relaxation. As the saying goes, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. It means the way you look at the things, the way you perceive the things will have an effect on how you feel, like whether you feel happy or sad, it is because of the way you look at the things. That's all.